Aldi shoppers, brace yourselves, because what you're about to hear might make you rethink your next grocery haul. Behind the aisles of budget-friendly deals lies a hidden list of products that Aldi employees desperately wish you'd leave on the shelf. Why? These items aren't just disappointing, they're a waste of money, a threat to your taste buds, and sometimes downright sketchy. From overpriced flops to downright disasters, these are the 10 items Aldi employees beg you not to buy. 10. Pre-packaged guacamole. If you've ever grabbed one of those neat containers of pre-packaged guacamole at Aldi, you've likely been swayed by its convenience. But here's the scoop. Aldi employees reportedly cringe every time they see customers toss this into their carts. Why? The pre-packaged guac is notorious for its bland flavor and texture. Sure, it might be loaded with healthy fats, but avocados have a short shelf life, and by the time this guac reaches the shelves, it's often far from its peak. Some shoppers have complained about an odd, tangy taste, not the zingy lime you'd expect, but rather a sign that the avocados have been preserved far longer than nature intended. And let's talk cost. A single tub of Aldi's pre-packaged guac often runs for $3, $4 for a scant amount, while buying fresh avocados and whipping up your own batch at home could save you a bundle. Plus, homemade guac means skipping unnecessary additives and preservatives. Employees admit that they see the disappointment in customers' faces when they realize their guac isn't the creamy, fresh dip they imagined. If convenience is key, opt for a ready-to-eat avocado and season it yourself. It'll be fresher, tastier, and much more satisfying. 9. Imported cheese blocks. Cheese lovers, beware. Those exotic imported cheese blocks at Aldi might look like a bargain, but they're often more trouble than they're worth. Employees whisper about the frequent quality complaints, crumbly textures, overly salty flavors, or worse, mold forming well before the best buy date. Aldi sources many of these cheeses from lesser-known suppliers, which might explain the inconsistency. Sure, $5 for a wedge of Gouda might seem like a steal, but you're likely sacrificing flavor and freshness for price. For the same cost, you could head to a local deli or cheese shop and get a smaller, fresher portion tailored to your taste. The packaging on these blocks is another red flag. It's often too tight, suffocating the cheese and speeding up spoilage. And while some customers chalk it up to a bad batch, employees quietly reveal that quality control isn't as rigorous as you'd expect. Instead of stocking up on imported cheese blocks, consider Aldi's domestic options, which are more reliable in taste and freshness. Or, better yet, buy from a store that specializes in cheese, where you can sample before you buy and avoid any post-purchase regrets. 8. Frozen sushi rolls. Frozen sushi rolls from Aldi are an abomination. Sushi, by its very nature, is about freshness, delicate fish paired with perfectly cooked rice. Now imagine taking that art form, freezing it into oblivion, and expecting it to taste like anything other than cold disappointment. Aldi employees have reportedly begged customers to avoid these sad excuses for sushi because they know the complaints that follow. The texture of the fish, rubbery, the rice, a mushy mess that no self-respecting sushi chef would ever tolerate. And don't even get me started on the wasabi packet, a watery, bland disgrace that barely qualifies as a condiment. Here's the kicker. Not only is the quality subpar, but you're also paying nearly $7 for a box of 6 tiny rolls. That's over $1 per bite. And what are you getting? Something that tastes like it was fished out of the Arctic depths last year. You could easily spend the same amount at a local sushi restaurant and get something that doesn't make you question your life choices. Employees share that these frozen rolls are often returned because customers are appalled at how far they fall from the real deal. If you're craving sushi, just skip Aldi altogether. Even the gas station sushi on the corner might be a safer bet than these freezer-burned atrocities. 7. Prepackaged smoothies. The prepackaged smoothies at Aldi? A total scam. Sure, they're marketed as a quick, healthy option for people on the go, but don't be fooled by the colorful packaging and promises of superfoods. What you're really buying is overpriced sugar water with a splash of fruit puree. Aldi employees admit that these smoothies are one of the most common items they see tossed out because they expire ridiculously fast. The shelf life is so short, you'd swear these bottles have a death wish. Let's talk nutrition. These smoothies often boast trendy ingredients like acai or chia, But when you actually read the label, the sugar content is through the roof, sometimes as high as 30 grams per serving. That's more sugar than a can of soda. And the worst part? The texture. Many customers report these smoothies separate into an unappetizing sludge and watery mess if they're left sitting for more than a few hours. Even vigorous shaking can't save them. Employees themselves wouldn't touch these things with a 10-foot pole because they know the truth. You're paying $3 or $4 for glorified juice that lacks any real substance. For the same price, you could buy fresh or frozen fruit, some Greek yogurt, and a blender. In minutes, you'd have a smoothie that actually tastes fresh, is packed with nutrients, and doesn't leave you regretting your purchase. Aldi employees aren't shy about spilling the tea. These pre-packaged smoothies are the poster child for buyer's remorse. Skip the hype and make your own. Your taste buds and wallet will thank you. 6. Aldi brand dish soap. Aldi's dish soap is the definition of a household letdown. If you've ever tried scrubbing grease off a pan with this watery excuse for a cleaning product, you know exactly why employees are shaking their heads when they see it in your cart. First off, this stuff is so diluted you'll go through half the bottle trying to get anything remotely clean. Forget about a sink full of dishes. This soap struggles to tackle a single plate. Aldi employees whisper about how often customers complain that they have to use 2 or 3 times the amount compared to a trusted brand like Dawn or Palmolive. The sad reality? You think you're saving money at $1.49 a bottle, but by the time you've gone through 3 bottles in a week, you've spent more than you would on a high-quality soap that actually works. Let's not even start on the scent. It's either so faint you wonder if it's just water with food coloring, or so overpowering it leaves your dishes smelling like a chemical spill. Customers have reported that the citrus version smells more like industrial cleaner than fresh oranges. And then there's the skin irritation. Multiple reviews point out how harsh this soap is on your hands, leaving them dry, red, and cracked after just a couple of uses. Employees know the secret. Aldi's dish soap is a last resort option, barely fit for washing windows, let alone dishes. If you care about clean plates and your own sanity, don't even think about putting this in your cart. 5. Aldi brand pre-cooked bacon. Brace yourself, because Aldi's pre-cooked bacon is one of the biggest culinary catastrophes ever packaged. Employees practically beg shoppers to steer clear of this greasy disaster disguised as convenience. Let's start with the texture. If you could somehow turn rubber bands into bacon strips, you'd get something close to this atrocity. It's limp, oily, and about as satisfying as biting into a wet paper towel. Flavor? Don't even bother. Instead of the smoky, savory goodness you expect from bacon, Aldi's pre-cooked version delivers a weird, artificial aftertaste that lingers on your tongue longer than it has any right to. Some customers even report a chemical tang, which makes you wonder what they're doing to this poor pork. And let's talk portions. You're paying nearly $4 for a pack that contains a laughable number of thin, pitiful strips, so thin you can practically see through them. By the time you've cooked enough for one sandwich, you've already blown through half the package. Employees admit that this product often sits on the shelves far longer than it should, because savvy shoppers know it's not worth the money. Oh, and the greasiness? Don't even get me started. The packaging might as well come with a warning label. Caution. Contains enough grease to clog your arteries just by looking at it. If you want bacon, do yourself a favor. Buy the raw, uncooked kind and make it fresh at home. It'll taste better, cost less, and won't leave you wondering why you ever trusted Aldi's shortcuts. 4. Aldi brand ground coffee. If you're grabbing Aldi's ground coffee thinking you found an affordable alternative to your favorite morning brew, think again. This stuff is a travesty in a bag, and Aldi employees know it all too well. They hear the complaints, see the returns, and silently judge you for choosing convenience over quality. Let's break it down. This coffee is bland, bitter, and has the complexity of cardboard. Even casual coffee drinkers have described it as brown water with a caffeine kick. And if you're a coffee connoisseur, this is nothing short of an insult to your palate. You'd think Aldi's $4 price tag for a large bag of coffee sounds like a steal, until you realize you're paying to ruin your morning. The beans used in these blends are often over-roasted to the point of no return, leaving you with an acrid taste that no amount of cream or sugar can save. And don't even try to brew it in a French press. The grounds are so inconsistent in size that your cup will be either weak or a sludge-filled disaster. Here's the kicker. Aldi's coffee has been known to stale faster than bread left out on the counter. Coffee enthusiasts report that the vacuum-sealed packaging is a joke, allowing air to creep in and strip away what little freshness these beans might have had. Employees will tell you in hushed tones to skip the cheap stuff and invest in a reputable brand like Lavazza or even Starbucks. You'll spend a few bucks more, but your taste buds and your sanity will thank you. Aldi's coffee is the ultimate regret in liquid form, and if you're serious about starting your day right, don't let this disaster touch your mug. 3. Aldi brand frozen fish fillets. Frozen fish fillets from Aldi? Absolutely not. Unless you enjoy eating tasteless, freezer-burned fish that smells like a dock on a bad day, do yourself a favor and skip these sad excuses for seafood. Employees have seen it all. Customers return these fillets in droves, complaining about the off-putting smell that hits you the second you open the package. And that's just the beginning of the nightmare. The texture? Forget flaky and tender. These fillets are mushy, watery, and fall apart the moment they hit the pan. Even seasoned cooks can't save this disaster. You could drown it in butter and spices, but the flavor of mediocrity always comes through. Speaking of flavor, what little taste these fillets have is about as appealing as licking a damp sponge. Let's not even talk about the price-to-value ratio. Sure, you're paying $6 for a bag of wild-caught fillets, but what you're really getting is a lesson in disappointment. Aldi sources these fish from large-scale suppliers who prioritize cost over quality, meaning you're more likely to get a fillet riddled with bones or unevenly cut pieces that cook inconsistently. Employees are quick to tell you, if you want fish, head to a reputable seafood market, or even the frozen aisle of another grocery store with better quality control. Aldi's frozen fish fillets are a gamble you're guaranteed to lose. If you value your taste buds and your kitchen time, leave these in the freezer section where they belong. Unbought, unloved, and utterly avoidable. 2. Aldi brand canned soup. Aldi's canned soups are nothing short of an insult to your taste buds. You might think you're saving money at just $1.50 a can, but the reality is you're buying a watery, sodium-laden sludge that barely qualifies as food. Employees have seen the horror on customers' faces after they've made the mistake of bringing these cans home. The broth? It's like salt water with a faint hint of something that might once have been chicken. The veggies? Soggy, unidentifiable lumps floating aimlessly in the murk. And the meat? Let's just say it's best not to think too hard about where it came from. Aldi's canned soup is the poster child for buyer's remorse. Not only does it taste awful, but it's also a nutritional black hole. Some cans pack over 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving, turning your quick and easy lunch into a one-way ticket to high blood pressure. And don't be fooled by the packaging. Terms like hearty or chunky are blatant lies. Employees know that most customers crack open these cans only to find a few sad pieces of overcooked pasta or rubbery meat swimming in a sea of disappointment. If you're craving soup, make your own or splurge on a reputable brand like Progresso or Amy's. Aldi's canned soup is a culinary betrayal, and no amount of crackers or seasoning can redeem it. Trust the employees who see this stuff day in and day out. Leave it on the shelf where it belongs, gathering dust next to other forgotten failures. 1. Aldi brand toilet paper. At number 1, the king of bad purchases, Aldi's toilet paper. If you think you're getting a deal at $4.99 for a big pack, think again. This stuff is the absolute worst. Employees practically roll their eyes every time they see a customer toss it in their cart because they know what's coming. Complaints, returns, and regret. Let's start with the quality, or lack thereof. This toilet paper is so thin and flimsy you'll find yourself using half the roll just to do the job. It's a one-way ticket to frustration. And don't even think about using it on sensitive skin unless you enjoy irritation and discomfort. Customers have described it as sandpaper on a roll, and they're not exaggerating. Even worse, this bargain toilet paper falls apart faster than a poorly made piñata. One wrong move and you're dealing with an embarrassing mess no one wants to talk about. Employees have also shared horror stories about this stuff wreaking havoc on plumbing. It doesn't break down properly, leading to clogged pipes and expensive repairs. If you have a septic system, using Aldi's toilet paper is practically asking for a disaster. The savings you think you're getting? Gone as soon as you call the plumber. If you value your dignity and your plumbing, spend a few extra bucks on a trusted brand like Charmin or Cottonelle. Aldi's toilet paper might look like a deal, but in reality, it's a costly mistake wrapped in cheap packaging. Don't say we didn't warn you. This is one product employees desperately wish you'd stop buying. Folks, there you have it. The 10 items Aldi employees wish you'd stop buying. Look, we all love a good deal, but not every price tag is worth the disappointment. So next time you're wandering those aisles, remember, not all bargains are created equal, and some could end up costing you more than just your hard-earned cash. Let us know in the comments, have you fallen victim to any of these Aldi flops? Or do you have your own never again list? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into what's really worth your money. Until then, shop smart, and don't let the markdowns fool you.